I'm so excited that you are joining me here today. And today I want to talk to you all about authenticity. Okay? My take on authenticity and why that's important, not just for building a business or for visibility, but actually for life. And I feel like authenticity is one of those things that's almost like a buzzword these days. Be more authentic. Just be you. And I genuinely feel like the waters have been muddied here. So I'm here today. We're going to clear it up. My thoughts on what authenticity really means and how you can develop it and why that's actually important and not just an internet, social media buzzword. Okay, does that sound good? Let's get into it. So I'm going to start by saying I am just back from my second weekend in London in 3 weeks. I've been a busy girl. I'm back in Dreich, Scotland. It has been raining, stormy, gross. I'm sitting here wrapped up in a cozy cardigan and my big fluffy scarf because it is super cold. And I was in London the most recent trip for an event that was being run by Nikki Pope, who is the founder of the Modern Lunch Club and who is now also the founder the Solopreneur Awards, which had its first annual event on the 5th of December there. And I was asked to be on the judging panel, which was just such an incredible opportunity to be involved with this event. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I was chosen for this role because I am known for my values of authenticity, not just the authenticity I bring myself to the online space, but my work in helping women uncover their authentic self and then translate that in any space or place that they find themselves, whether that's online, on Instagram, on a podcast, at an event, okay? And so I was asked to judge at this event along with two other incredible judges. And it was just honestly the most incredible night. And the reason that this opportunity really aligned with me was because it's about celebrating women who are building business from the ground up, who are doing it in a way that is not cliquey, that is not, oh, you have to pay this much money to sit at this table. No, this is where we start to really celebrate women who are going beyond enough and choosing to grow a business, to change their life, and in the process create such a beautiful impact in the world because they truly care and believe about what they're doing. Now, this opportunity really was something that I was aligned to. And I get asked all the time, how did you get this opportunity? How did you get that guest on your podcast? How did you do this? How did you do that? How do you make sales online? And my response is always the same. I am authentic. The same version of me you get on this podcast is the same version of me that you get online or when you meet me and give me a hug at an event. I am just me. And that has served me so very well over the 6-7 years of business. And I think despite all the fear I do remember having in the early days around, will people judge me? What will they think? I also understood that if I wanted to build a legacy and if I wanted to have a business that would truly impact other women, that I was going to have to get really vocal on what was important to me and why I was doing this and what exactly and specifically it is that I can help them with. Authenticity is not trauma dumping and sharing every single little aspect of your life on your social media, okay? Just because someone has a huge social media following or a huge social media presence does not make them authentic, okay? It doesn't. There has been a rise, as we know, of people turning towards, oh, I'm authentic, I'm going to be authentic, I'm going to be more authentically me. But I think there is a misunderstanding of what authenticity actually is. And for me, it's never been about the buzzword of that stamp of approval of I am authentic. That stamp of approval doesn't exist, okay? It doesn't. You get to show up. This is the truth of it. You get to show up online, on a podcast, wherever you want, as whoever you want, whether that's you, whether it's not authentically you. You do have choice over how you show up in the world, in your business, at your work, in your career, in your relationship. You get a choice every moment of every day on how to show up. But most women don't know that. Most women are running on autopilot. Most men too. They are running a pre-programmed set of behaviors, of language, of body language. They're running a set program that has been built up over time. A lot of that programming will come down to the exposures that you had early in life that set off your nervous system and taught you that a certain thing, or saying a certain thing, or being too loud, or even being too quiet was not safe. And so the way that you show up in the world now has been determined by how you've showed up in the world previously. And that has created this voice story. It's created the story of your presence, of your voice and your language and the way you speak. And that has been handed down probably through generations as well, right? From our primary caregivers. And this is genuinely why I just don't give people a 5-step to explode your visibility plan. It's the reason why I don't really give cookie cutter advice, because you don't need cookie cutter advice. You can go on to ChatGPT and ask it what to do, and it will give you a strategy. There are thousands of business coaches online who will give you a strategy. The problem is not the strategy. The problem is how you're executing it and how you're showing up when you are taking the steps through that strategy. And this is where authenticity becomes really important. Because when you are shrouded in these layers, I like to think of it as layers. All these layers that have been built up over time, beliefs, that time someone said your hair wasn't right, that time that you were shouted at and told to be quiet, that time you were bullied at school, that time that you had a horrible friendship breakup and were told that you're wrong even though you knew you were right, that caused self-doubt and fear of speaking up and speaking your truth and being vocal about something that's hurt you. Layer upon layer upon layer upon layer over you, your authentic self and your authentic voice. And so visibility for me is not that piece of here's a strategy, just go and post this or go and pitch this to 10 companies or email your email list these exact words and that will easily convert them into paying customers. All of these things are shrouding your authentic voice and your authentic self. And then what happens is that you start to bend and mold and shift in every interaction to people please, to appease, to avoid confrontation, to create rapport, false rapport, where you just want to relate to a person. So you bend your own facts to fit what they've said. And this is not authenticity. Authenticity is the alignment of your internal and external reality. It is you being able to convey what is going on inside your mind and heart, in your soul. To be able to say what is important to you, what your thoughts are, how you feel, to anyone, and articulate that truthfully, with integrity, in any situation, with anyone in front of you. Whether that's someone like a celebrity who you're really impressed by and you think they're fantastic, or whether it's a partner and you're having a difficult conversation. Authenticity is that part of you where all the layers of everybody else's bullshit has been stripped back. And that is a journey. It's a process. It is not something that you can click your fingers and achieve. Authenticity isn't being louder, bolder, which, by the way, if that is you, like, go for it. If that feels real and true to you, right? But in order to show up authentically in your life and in your business, it doesn't require you to be anything else other than what you are at your core. Authenticity is a frequency, okay? And we talk about frequency a lot. But on the scale of emotional frequency, if you are blocked and wounded, there is always going to be a disparity between your energy and how other people feel you. Because we are energetic beings. We feel other people's energy. And so if you are blocked, the way that people see and feel you is not going to match what you are trying to achieve with your visibility, with your presence, with your voice, with your communication. Because there is something between you and them. Fear, doubt, scarcity. Am I going to be judged by this person? Is this person going to gossip about me? Are they not going to like what I have to say and it's going to cause an argument, and I really don't want that? And so you're always then suppressing parts of yourself in situations because it's not felt safe to just be you. And perhaps you have not begun the work of removing all these layers. Perhaps you didn't even know they were there. And certainly this was my story, right? Like, I didn't know. I had never come across mindset work or energetic work. I didn't even know this was a thing. And I often tell this story, but for a long time in my life, it was like a running joke in my family that I had a black cloud of bad luck that followed me around. Like, this was like an accepted fact almost. Such a deeply ingrained belief that I was just unlucky. And that bad things always happened to me. And that nothing good ever came out of nowhere. And that I was just inherently broken or inherently not good enough. And I understand that now. I have the vocabulary, I have the understanding of how my early years shaped me, how my teenage years shaped me, and how my career shaped me, and all of these things that led to me having such deep-rooted struggles, not just with visibility, but with worth. And so when I ask you to think about your own authenticity, I encourage you to think about how that is tied to your self-worth. When it comes to success in life, we seem to have a very clear-cut picture of what success means for us to be successful in this world, right? Like, we have this impression of being on your laptop in Bali or having so much financial freedom that we don't have to work again, and owning a yacht. I mean, I would quite like a yacht. That would be fun. However, my point being that we have, again, built up this perception of what success looks like. And anything less than that means that we are failing, which we logically know. On a logical level, we know that that is not true. But we feel like it is. We feel like we are failing, or we feel like we are not good enough. And again, with a lot of my clients, some of the work in our early sessions is around simply accepting how we feel about these things. Most of the time, emotion just wants acknowledged. It wants you to realize that it's there, why it's there, and then release it. Negative emotion, as it's called, anger, frustration, sadness, grief, all of these things exist as the shadow of joy, happiness, passion. excitement. We cannot have one without the other. We cannot understand those highs if we have not felt the lows. And again, I do feel like part of why I've had such a tough time of it is because I was learning how to hold women with this really deep, heavy emotion, this crazy stuff that happens sometimes in life. And because I've walked through those paths, I'm able to hold them in those moments. And I think, honestly, that is half the battle. Accepting how you feel, understanding it, and releasing emotion. Again, coming back to emotional frequency and blocks. If you cannot name the emotion and just understand that it's there and accept it, and sometimes we don't need to know all the ins and outs of why it's there. We simply just get to accept that it is there and that it does not mean anything about us. It is simply an emotion or a feeling or a thought that can be let go. It can be transmuted. It can be alchemized into something so much more powerful. And so authenticity really is that journey of finding who you are underneath all of the conditioning, underneath all of the crazy stuff that's happened to you over your life, all the awful things, and also all the good things, right? And how they've shaped you. And asking yourself, is where I am where I want to be? Or actually, am I not on the path that I thought I was on? And I'm simply performing because I feel like that is what everybody else expects of me. Performance is exhausting. You see it all the time. I see coaches and founders burn out all the time because there comes a point where you cannot perform in every interaction, in every meeting, in every piece of content. It's exhausting to perform and to not be who you are because you will always, always be fighting yourself. Even if you have these blocks and wounds and these shrouds over your authentic self, there will come a point where your body, mind, soul, spirit will shout at you. Something is not right. It's exhausting, expending so much energy trying to be someone that you are not. And again, I do feel like a lot of that comes from this place, this really primal place of wanting to fit in, of wanting to be part of humanity or part of a social circle where we just want to belong. But in the process, we've lost our authentic self and we're lonelier than ever. Health outcomes are worse than ever. There's so much that I could speak to about that, but we'll not go down that rabbit hole today. But people are lonelier than ever, and it's because they've lost touch with their authentic self. Because what happens when you are in that mode of performance and lack of alignment is that people don't actually know you. There's a huge wall up in between you and anyone else you interact with. And so you never truly feel connected to anybody else. You never truly feel accepted as yourself. And that is a very, very, very lonely place to be. Soul-destroying place to be. There have been points in my life where loneliness has been just some of the darkest days that I've ever had. And when you feel disconnected from those around you, it kind of feels like I'm never getting out of this. I'm never going to have, good friendships, good relationships, or I'm never going to bring in the clients that I want, whatever it is. Connection is everything. And I think, especially for a lot of you listening who are probably on this journey of self-discovery, of personal development, maybe you're building a business, whatever it is that you're doing, it compounds a lot of change very quickly. And then the people around you, people that you thought you were close to or that you connected deeply with, friends, partners, business co-workers, suddenly aren't in alignment with you anymore. And again, I don't think this is talked about enough when you are on this journey, right? Is the fact that there comes a point where you are no longer able to deal with situations or energy leaks from people who no longer relate to you, right? There's no resonance there anymore because you have changed so much that you are no longer on that same path. And that can be really lonely. And that's certainly what happened to me. I lost a lot of friendships on this journey that I thought were great, that I thought were really, really beautiful relationships. But once you start to work on yourself, work on your authenticity, once you start to grow and shift and change, those lenses that we carry ourselves start to go, and also the lenses that we have given other people. And in the light, sometimes some of these relationships, spaces, places, people have maybe not been as helpful to you as you had previously thought. And that can lead to loneliness, right? You can feel very alone. And it's why I'm always banging the drum of community, which brings me back round to a lovely kind of full circle moment where I was at this event on Saturday and surrounded by women who are very much in that same place as me, wanting to build, wanting to succeed, but doing it with so much heart, so much soul, so much authenticity. We are influenced an awful lot. We are influenced an awful lot by those around us. And so if you are surrounded by people who are very inauthentic, you follow a lot of influencers on Instagram, for example, and you're constantly consuming content that is very vanity focused, that is very inauthentic, that is very judgmental, that has a great impact, massive impact on how you think and feel about yourself. Never underestimate the power of words. That's the language that our brain speaks, right? Words are so powerful. And if you're constantly consuming words that are not helpful, it compounds into a belief system. It compounds into feelings and emotions that are much harder to unravel because your brain is always seeking evidence that it is right. And so all of this just adds to these lenses, these layers that are put on top of you without you knowing, shrouding your authentic self. And if your authentic self is shrouded in all of these layers, all of these beliefs, all of this pain, all of this fear, you cannot shine your light. No one can see your light because it is so covered up by everything else that's going on, and you can't let anybody in. And when you can't let anybody in, your business suffers. You as an individual, as a woman, will struggle to have that deep connection, will struggle to be in spaces and places where you feel aligned, where you feel like I can be myself. Authenticity is extremely vulnerable, and I am not here to tell you otherwise. It is one of those things that we have to go first with. If we want the opportunities, for example, judging at a big solopreneur event, or talking on a stage, or welcoming in clients, or growing our business, or seeking investment, or wanting a promotion, or calling in love, right? We have to go first. We have to be vulnerable. We have to move forward and expand and grow and understand that what we've been doing before has not served us. And therefore, let me change what I'm doing going forward. Let me learn how to create a life where I feel aligned. But that requires you to go first with authenticity. And that requires that you peel back the layers around the fear, around the belief, all of the beliefs that you've built up over time. It requires you, more than likely, to stop spending your energy on people and places and things that do not serve that version of you, that authentic version of you going forward. And this is such a key part of the work that I do with my clients. Because if you want to be out there, you want to be visible, you want to get those goals that you've set yourself. We're here at the end of 2025, right? If you are calling in big things for 2026 and saying that you want them, do the work to find your authentic self. Allow people to see and feel you. Work on your confidence and your presence. These things are not things that will be handed to you. You have to work for them. That's why they're valuable, right? Anything that's worth having takes a bit of time to get there. It takes energy and effort. But the way that you communicate, whether that is at home with a partner or whether that is on a stage with 10,000 people, the way that you communicate your presence, your voice is the most important tool, because that is the thing that helps us people understand who you are and what you do. And if they do not understand who you are and what you do, they cannot trust you. They cannot buy into you. They cannot invest in you. They cannot offer you opportunities. And they will not. Okay? That's how it works. We must go first. We must be vulnerable. And to continue on with the point at the start of the podcast, being authentic doesn't mean you have to tell everyone everything all of the time. It is simply being able to bring those parts of yourself to any space or place you find yourself, to be able to connect with people and create resonance. And we only get resonance with our authentic self in our authentic frequency. So this looks like sharing your opinion. This looks like telling people about your journey and your story, how you got to where you are now, even if that place is not the destination that you see yourself in, right? And we talked about this before. Again, success seems to have this very linear progression or checklist in our world. Your version of success does not have to be someone else's version of success. If you understand yourself authentically, you will start to uncover those things that are actually crucial to you being happy and moving forward. And it's probably not what you've been fed through media and socials. Your version of happiness is not someone else's version of happiness. And when you're on this journey to finding your authentic self, you start to understand what it is actually that you want, and understand that you are worthy of going for it and that you can actually achieve it. But it does require that you look at things beyond the surface level and understand why it is that you hesitate when you speak, why it is that you struggle to post consistently, why is it that you struggle to put yourself forward for a speaking opportunity or for a podcast, or how you've developed this belief that no matter what you do, people aren't going to buy into you, right? Maybe your voice has never felt important. So this is the time. This is the time to find your authentic voice and to realize the value that it holds beyond just business and making sales. Authenticity is how the world gets to see you and feel you, to understand who you are and what you're about. You are not going to be relevant to everyone. This is another box that we try to put women into. Be relevant. Show people that you're relevant. Well, you're not always going to be relevant. And you're certainly a multifaceted, multi-talented, incredible woman with so many skills, so much experience. And actually, that's what makes you unique. And you should be sharing about that. You should be sharing about your journey. You should be telling your stories. Authenticity requires us to be vulnerable. That does not mean sharing everything all the time. I have clients, and I've had so many conversations with clients in the past. Well, I don't want to share about my divorce, for example, or I don't want to share about this or that. You do not have to share anything you do not want to share. But ask yourself, are you not sharing out of fear? Or is it because actually this just isn't important to your messaging in your business and it's not something that you need to share in any event? I often find that the things we're most terrified to share make the biggest impact. And I do talk about my separation from the kid's dad, and I do talk about being a single mum because it's really important to me that women feel seen and understood and know that there is life beyond these huge life-changing circumstances. We also have a tendency to shame single mothers and to put them in a box. I spoke about this on my Instagram recently. Identity. They give us an identity, single mum. And that comes with, again, the power of language, right? Even the word single mum denote so much meaning and put you in this box where your identity has been carved out for you and you feel like you can't get out of it. But most of those restrictions are in our mind. And actually, I don't conform to the stereotypical view of a struggling single mum. Was it bloody difficult? And are there times where it's still bloody difficult? Yes, 100%. But society doesn't get to put me in an identity. I get to choose who I am. I get to choose what I'm going to do going forward. And so do you. Part of authenticity is understanding that all of these things that we've spoken about today have built you up an identity over time. And our identity, how we relate to ourselves in the world around us, again puts up these invisible walls around how we behave, not just in our life, but online and in business. Because they have created a belief system around what we feel we're capable of, how we think we get to be as well, what we get to do on a daily basis, what it takes to be successful, what it takes to be a good mother, what it takes to be a woman, which is a huge one. So part of authenticity is understanding the ties that we have to a certain identity and being able to really uncover what's going on underneath, why we feel trapped in that identity, and how we start to build up the next season of our life in an identity that's serving us, in an identity where we feel like we can be successful and where we can have whatever it is that we are calling into our life, where we can trust ourselves to say the right thing. How gorgeous is that? Self-trust, self-worth, self-leadership are all skills that each and every one of us as individual needs to learn. To take that power away from the voices that we hear online, the voices of our past, these self-stories and voice stories that have created so much emotion and meaning in our minds, possibly potentially from just such a small instance where we felt unsafe, but it has triggered a series of events in our life that has led us to believe, I'm not good enough, I'm not interesting enough, I don't have enough of a personality, I'm boring, nobody wants to listen to me, I'm too much, I'm too noisy, I'm too loud. All of it starts with you understanding where that came from, where that stems from, and then rewriting the story of who you get to be and how you get to use your voice to get you wherever it is that you want to go, whether that's into a healthy, happy relationship, whether that is into having feeling better in motherhood and being more regulated and understanding, okay, this is how I want to parent going forward, or whether it is, let me build a huge, successful legacy business that impacts thousands of people across the world. Using your voice, your story, is how you get there. That is the connective piece. and how we share our voice is important. Authenticity wins every single time. Authenticity condenses that time between people discovering you and then booking your services, or discovering you and offering you an opportunity, or discovering you and asking you out on a date. If you can bring that authentic presence and have conviction over what you're saying, let go of this need to constantly shroud what you're saying for fear of what this other person in the interaction is going to say, or what people online are going to say. Because the fear is influencing what you're saying, and the fear of rejection is influencing what you're saying, and it's causing discrepancies. And those discrepancies, those energetic leaks, mean that people perceive you to be shaky, to not be self-certain, to not be confident, or inauthentic. And people pick up inauthenticity as deceit, right? Like it feels like, oh, that person's not being truthful. Where in actual fact, you are being truthful. You're just shrouded by so many layers of fear that it's causing this disparity. And we don't want that. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for your visibility. I want you to make the most of every single opportunity that you have to be visible, because opportunities, believe me, are everywhere. They are everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And the more you can learn to have authenticity over yourself, the more you are going to be able to bring integrity and growth into your work, and to be able to condense the time it takes, because you're no longer spending so much energy worrying about what other people think, what are other people going to say, are other people going to judge me, are they going to talk about me, are they going to call me out and call me a liar, am I going to get it wrong? It's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. So I hope that this episode has inspired you to think about your authentic self differently. You do not need to share everything all the time on a minute by minute, blow by blow account on your socials to be authentic. This is an inside job. And don't mistake me, authenticity is a buzzword. But true authenticity requires you to lead yourself through those past stories and create a new one, to create a new identity. That requires shedding of what has gone before. This is something that we're doing inside the Presence Edit in January. I believe we go January 12th. It is a 12-day experience within Telegram where we'll be looking at the stories of your voice, where we'll be unpacking why you feel that you cannot be authentic online and the how of visibility. Okay, this is how you implement a visibility strategy. This is how you show up, not just for business, but for yourself in your life, so that your visibility does its job in bringing you income, opportunities. Because the more you are yourself authentically, the more you practice being self-certain and having self-trust and not spending all your energy worrying what other people think, worrying about getting it wrong, and move forward to start to take action and have motion, is when you start to truly learn presence, voice, and conviction. And that is what will change the game for you. That is what will change how people perceive you. This is what will build that trust with other people, where they can actually see and feel you and know that it's safe to invest in you, to work with you, all of these things. And so that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know your thoughts, and you can all get me over on Instagram at Amelie Coaching. I hope that this episode has blown your mind with what authenticity can mean for you and the possibilities that it holds to expand your life and your business. and I will speak to you in the next one. Bye.